everybody, Below 10,000 here, bringing you another episode of the Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. And today we are heading to the final glyph location, which is at the Lighthouse. And the glyph we are collecting is the fittingly named Light Glyph. It is the strongest glyph in the game, and effectively it kills any enemies that come into contact with it, so it's a lot of fun. So, the lighthouse is an interesting area. We're basically going to be heading to the lighthouse, we're going to be finding the glyph, and it's going to be fun. When you get into this area, I believe there is a place that we can climb to. I'm just trying to figure out where it is, because this is a pretty big area. There it is. Come on, game. Up we go. We effectively need to make our way to the top of the lighthouse. And normally, this would be a place that you would do without going into the spiritual realm. However, it is easier to navigate this first segment if you are in the spiritual realm, as a lot of the areas that you'll be trying to get to would have enemies if you were in the physical realm, whereas in the spiritual realm, you don't really have to deal with those enemies, so it's a lot more useful. Plus, most of the enemies here are Turalim, which is the force projectile enemies, and they're better dealt with in moderation. Alright, make our way through this pathway. And we should be coming very soon to a planar portal. Be very wary, as when you do go back into the real world, an enemy will be waiting for you. However, I'll show off one of the glyphs we got. I'm going to show off the fire glyph. And so he burns. These guys also happen to do the most damage, so it's effectively recommended to avoid them at all costs and just trying to go past them. And this area has some very nice music to it. That's something I forgot to note. The music in this area is just gorgeous. So we're going to get a little cutscene as we come out of the area. So this is the lighthouse. We need to turn the lighthouse on, power it, and that will get us to the glyph. We need to head into that door there, and then it's going to go down to a door at the bottom of the hill. This door here is where the glyph actually is. We do not need to go in there just yet. We've got a lot that we need to do before that. First things first, we need to head down this way and just sort of make our way into this room here. No need to really deal with the enemies, we have glyphs. Once we're in here, at the very end of this hallway, there will be a giant room. And there will also be a Turalim vampire. We want to kill the vampire first, so let's just get our flame glyph out. May as well take his power while we're waiting. There we go. We then want to climb our way up onto this little platform here. And then we want to make our way over there. So, up we go. This block we need to push down, because this block is very important to this puzzle. Push it down. Push it forwards one space, and then we need to head over this way and flick this crank. Now, this crank, when flicked, will activate the fires of the lighthouse. It's like the fuel. So, after we've lit the fire, the crank is going to start turning back. And effectively, we need to block it with this block. We need to make it so the fire stays lit. And it's done like so. As long as the crank doesn't go all the way back, the fires will remain lit. And once the fires remain lit, that's the first half of this level done. So, we leave through the door we came in. And now we're going to do some little fun gliding maneuvers. We're going to jump, and we are simply going to try and glide into this little space here. There we go. Once through this door, we're in the main area of this place. I believe there's an enemy around here, but... oh, not here, but there is one. We need to head to the very bottom of this giant tower. But before we Actually, no. I don't remember if we need to go into the spiritual realm now or when we're at the bottom. We're going to be going back into the spiritual realm very soon, though. Very, very soon. Yes. So, drop. There's no penalty for falling. There's no damage. Okay, but there is an enemy. Surprise. There are also quite a few enemies on the ramp that goes down to that hole. There's some enemies in here, but all we really need to do in this room is head into the spiritual realm and then just walk through the machinery. Then we'll get to the other side of the room and we'll get to some fun puzzles. Block puzzles. The same ones that we saw all the way back in Zephon's Cathedral, way back when we went to kill the guy. So first things first, spiritual. We can head underneath all of these. And we just simply want to get our power back. And then it's a case of just going back into the physical realm. Head through the door. We were getting attacked there, so lucky we managed to get through here. And now we're in a very oddly textured hallway. Out of all the rooms, this one is the weirdest texture. Like, it's just so nice. Ignore this guy. Once we've punched him enough, he'll be distracted and won't follow us. Then, head through the double doors. Now, we're going to get to the main puzzle of this area. It's quite simply one of these pipe puzzles. These are the same puzzles that we saw back in Zephon's Cathedral. They're very simple puzzles. All you have to do is just match the blocks up with the pipes so that we can connect them all. So you would go there. I believe this one is the corner pipe, so what we want to do is flip it over. Flip it over again. Flip it this way. And then flip it this way. And that should put it all in the right direction that it needs to be in. Push that over here. Pop that in there. We just need one more, which is this piece over here. This one's a lot more simple, though. It's just a case of flip it over like this, flip it over like that, push it into place, and that's the pipes put into place. Once you have them all placed in like that, simply head up here, follow this pipe around here, and flick this wheel. Once the wheel's flicked, the pipe water will raise the water level there, the water will go through the pipes, and it will power up the water wheel on the other side. Other way, Raziel. There we go. Wait. It should be powering this. I don't see the issue. Maybe I made a mistake with one of the things. I don't think I did, though. How very odd. Unless I'm just being dumb. But I'm pretty sure I've done it correctly. Unless there was something down here that I've completely missed. Which could possibly be the case. Because what's meant to happen is it's meant to release steam into here. And it's meant to basically be good. Okay, so from what I've gathered, that means that I placed a pipe in incorrectly. That's embarrassing. I shouldn't have. Like, theoretically, I've got all those pipes in the positions they're meant to be in. So I'm very unsure. Let's take a look. You. Yes. Yes. Ah, it's this one. Okay, I see. Somehow I did the... Oh, wow, I see what I've done. I see what I've done. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to just push it like that. And that's how we fix it. Okay. Wow, I can't believe I didn't notice that. Damn. Okay, now it should definitely be fixed. So, we turn on the valve in hither. Like so. That valve turns on. That lets the water through the pipes, which means we've done it correctly. Once the water wheel is turning, that means you can head back over there. And we can go over that way now. Thank goodness. So, head across here. And these are now releasing steam that we can use to glide our way upwards. Once up here, it's simply a case of just getting up onto these platforms and maneuvering our way up. Once we're through here, we'll enter another room. This is going way back to that little machine room right near the start of this, this lighthouse. So first things first, we drop down. Then we simply need to find our way to, I believe there's a wheel around here. Either that, or actually no, I believe this means that the lighthouse is already active, so we should be okay regardless. That was my mistake. I'm trying to remember where to go from here, though. I don't remember. I believe I may have made a slight mistake, so we are going to have to go back around up the steam vents again. Basically, I believe I fell down the wrong hole. Alright guys, apologies. I am now joined by my 3 dogs, because I had to take a quick momentary break to kill this guy. Boop. Effectively, now what we want to do is we want to head back through this hallway. We have to go all the way back around because we fell down the wrong hole. Because I am talented at this game. If you didn't gather this, I'm just the best at this game. Lucky for us, we don't have to do the block puzzle, so it's a pretty simple case of just go back around, glide up the wall, and it's pretty simple. Basically, we want to fall down the hole that is closest to the initial entrance. So, once we're up on here, we don't fall off and then can't be seen because thank you, camera. Jesus. I mean, I know this was a PlayStation 1 Dreamcast PC game, but Jesus Christ, the camera. I love this game, but come on. Camera needs to be better than this. No, please, no, please, no, please, no, please, no, please. Oh, for fudge's sake. Now it's just becoming a mess. Everything went downhill the moment I fell down the wrong hole. It's just a fact. Alright. We head back into this room. This time, we won't fall down the wrong hole. I'll make sure of that. Fly across this hole, fly across this one, and I believe it's this one we want to drop down. Yep, and it takes us right back here to the beginning. Because once you activate the water wheel, you feel free to leave the area. There's no need to stay here anymore. Now it's just a run back to the top. Your normal jump should suffice in getting you across each of the different gaps, so you should be okay. But be wary of enemies that appear on the ramp as you go. However, once I'm up here, well, I just gotta go through this door, and we can go straight away and get the glyph. So, ignoring this guy, the lighthouse is now on. We've fueled it, and we've activated the actual lighthouse itself. So, what do we need to do now? Well, we need to continue moving when this game lets us move. We need to head into that door all the way down at the very end of this area so we can go and check out the shrine. Right after this thing tells us that we can... Yep, there we go, come on. There we go, good going, game. Didn't really need that extra bit of... And my dogs are whining. Yeah, this is what happens when your dogs sit. And up we go. No, down we go. Up we go! I'll have to ignore my dogs. They've just come back from a long walk, and we have to keep them in my room, because my mother, she does dog grooming, and effectively, our dogs don't get along with other dogs. Okay, this guy's getting on my nerves, so we're just gonna burn him. Like so. Get wrecked, bozo. Once that's sorted out, It's very simple. There is one more enemy through here that we're going to need to deal with. But deal with is a very subjective term. Because I'm just going to burn him. Oh, my dog is being so loud. He needs to stop being loud and be nice. There's nothing wrong with coming back very tired from a walk. This is the shrine, by the way. We're in the glyph shrine now. The Sunlight Shrine. And now, our only goal is simple. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. Right when the sunlight hits the thing, you have to go into the spiritual realm, and it will release the glyph. Once you have the glyph released, you can just collect it, and that will be the final glyph of the game. Now, the sunlight glyph works very similarly to the flame glyph. The big difference being that it not only... Okay, my dog's being very loud. Shush! Shush! The big difference with the sunlight glyph is that it clears an area of enemies as opposed to simply, you know, finishes a few enemies off. I believe this is a healing station? No, it's not. That makes me sad. Well, we need to go and get some soul energy so we can actually leave this place. So let's kill some of you. There we go. And now we have one more job to do this episode. After we've got the sunlight glyph that we now have, we need to head back to the warp gate, head to the Lake of the Dead, and find our way to the next place where we will be ending off this episode. So this is a fairly, I'd say, decent-sized episode, about 20 minutes. It's only going to take us a little while, but we've got two things to do, because we've got a new area that we need to get to, because there's a warp gate at the start of the new area that we need to go to that we can activate. I believe we need to head back through here. So that's the Lighthouse area done and dusted. It's an interesting little area, quite like just how the puzzle is very self-contained and the area is just interesting. But, you know, each to their own. Some people don't like it, some people do. Once we're back in the water, though, it's a simple swim down, just so we can get through here and head up to the warp gate. Once we get into the warp gate, our goal is slightly more different than normal. We're going to be heading back to the Abyss warp gate, which is the first warp gate that we encountered. This is the one right by the Lake of the Dead that we cast us in, and as my dog is very sad because he doesn't like being locked in my room, but we have to keep him in here for safety reasons, as he sadly mourns in the background, we will make our way through this area and, you know, go to a new place, because we're going to go and see our brother Dumar. Dumar, the guy who spawned these enemies. Yeah, that one. He's kind of hidden in Nosgoth's northern wastes, which is its mountainous, icy areas, and there's a lot of stuff down in that direction that we need to head to. Mainly, our goal is we need to get up here. And the only way to get up there is to use Rahab's power to boost yourself upwards. We've got a nice little cavern where, you know, it's just sort of showing stuff off. Using the camera like that. Let's quickly see, do we need to collect this? I feel like this might be useful. Nope, don't need it. Well, now we've gone through this cavern, we are in the wastes of the Dumahim. As you can see, they've got a flag lit up there. The ruined city of the Dumahim. But we don't need to go straight here, straight away. We need to head down this pathway, because this pathway leads us to the warp gate, where we'll be ending the episode. Oh, you rude bugger. There we go. I love that sunlight glyph. And over here, we've got the warp gate. So, let's activate the warp gate and we'll call it a day here. If you're enjoying the series so far, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you're watching on VidMe, please feel free to upvote, and I hope you enjoy this series. In the next episode, we're going to be taking on our brother Duma in the ruined city, and I think we're only about 2 or 3 episodes away from finishing this LP, so it's pretty exciting. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye, guys.